So I'm going to actually, I want to start out with a couple of examples of Storifys that I've done and kind of tell you the reason why and my thought process. I've evolved. I've been using it about 2.5 years.
Did you just even say what Storify is?
Yeah. I'll start from the beginning.
Okay.
Totally. So let me just get out to their main page really quick.
Can you mention how long these guys have been around? Because actually I only heard about them last year.
You know what? They've been around probably 2 or 3 years. This is a new homepage since I even have been on their homepage. But I think they're trying to make it easier for people to understand what it is, to your question, because a lot of people kind of heard about it, they've seen the stories, but the stories are essentially, they're like blog posts in a way, but instead of writing a bunch of words or long format content, you're constructing the story, if you will, from pieces of content from around the web. So the purpose that they are really majoring on now, they started out as a startup. They got really popular really quick within certain industries. So just like Pinterest, if you know what Pinterest is, they sort of have pivoted, and they got acquired, by the way. So now they have a lot of funding. They're not going away anytime soon. And really major news organizations are really the fuel, I think, of the platform, because you see them, they're majoring on use Storify to tell your story. News, universities, government, NGOs, which is directly applicable to some of the activities that you all are involved in. And they're not even highlighting, this is me over here marketing IBM stuff. But that's not, they're trying to make sure that everybody understands that it's a different platform than some other things that you see. You've seen blog posts where people get fancy and they embed widgets, or they embed, tweets have an embeddable script. They have JavaScript that you can cut and paste into your WordPress, blog post or what have you. A lot of people do that. They were doing that before this platform existed to make it, make their story more visual. I can go on and on about marketing statistics and talk about how important it is to make all of your digital marketing or your content marketing or your whatever it is that you're creating for the web visual. There's all these studies that say a tweet with quotes and one hashtag instead of 2 gets 50% more attention. There's human nature around websites where you do heat maps, where everybody looks at the top left corner, and so there's a lot of design aspects to social and how you present things. So this provides essentially an easy way to sort of treat social media as a box of Legos. That's like how I like to describe it. We'll show you the editor when I log in here. I wanted to show you how easy that is. But I would encourage you, I think if I scroll down on this page, they show, like many websites, they show sort of the top stories of the day, the most popular stories, and they have the featured users. So you recognize right off the bat PBS, number 3 user here. So a lot of media organizations are using it, and any individual like yourself. So I don't want to go to this meeting right now.
Wait, your featured user list is different than mine. Why would that be? I don't even have PBS on the list.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Maybe it's
That's interesting.
detecting something. Are you logged in?
Yep.
That's why. I bet I'm not logged in yet. I wanted to log out and show you the steps to get to that point. Maybe that's why I haven't seen this homepage before. Like I haven't, the way that it's showing you instructions at the top here. That's new to me.
It's different if you haven't logged in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
They also have what's called a Storify VIP program. When they were acquired by Livefire is, if you don't know what Livefire is, it's a commenting platform for blogs. So many people that build websites now, they're doing responsive design, they're doing things to make it mobile friendly. They're also using platforms like Livefire. Livefire is essentially comments. Nothing more than that. It's comments, but it's in the cloud, meaning you can take the comments with you if you move sites. Your identity is tied to those comments. So if if you wanted to change your blog platform from WordPress to Typepad to Google, you could take that set of comments with you that you've accumulated with your content over the last 5 years. If you're like Beth Cantor, she's invested massively into her online identity, right, with her blog. So she wants to keep all that. If she has a database failure, if she moves platforms and gets wooed over to WordPress for some reason, you could use Livefyre. It's a distributed way to do comments. There's other popular ones. If you want to know more about that, I use Discuss on mine.
Okay.
But so Livefyre, they became very popular very quick. They acquired Storify. So long story short, Storify is a good way, I think, to curate content. A lot of what I do in my day job is around our large marketing conferences, or I should say sales conferences, really, right? We have large conferences at IBM where I work in the software side of the house primarily. We have a conference every April in Las Vegas. 10,000 people attend. And I am in charge of, my day job recently has been to be like a journalist at that event. I sort of invented this new way of us repurposing our savvy marketing colleagues like myself, where we would go to the event and we would represent a certain topic. So there's somebody there that's writing about cloud as the stuff's happening on stage. And then we'll use Storify to bring all that content together. From like if I was writing about cloud, I would write a blog article where I said, our VP said this, the guy that was, the guest speaker from, Box.com or something said this. We'd write a nice blog article, but then we would use Storify to create a story around that included all the photos that people were taking in the crowd, or the video broadcast that we put on live stream, or really, like my job at the end of the day is to, we are trying to get more attention for some of our products. So I would include a demo video that's on YouTube that says, okay, for more information, go check out this 3-minute deep dive into the software itself. That was, the razzle dazzle was on stage, and now go look at how it really works. That sort of stage. So it's really cool for that as a marketer. But you can click on each of these and see examples in these industries. And they're saying, yes, it's great for conferences. Let's see. I'm going to log in with my ID now. It's if you haven't used it before, you haven't signed up. It's really a one-click process. Like most sites now, you can use the traditional method of creating an email address type of ID, or you can just use your Facebook or Twitter credentials. I think the reason Storify is only really going to work if you attach those profiles, because you need your social media identity tied to this in order to really build a story.
So you should log in with those?
I recommend it. I know a lot of people have trepidation about using those things as your primary identity. Many people don't want to use Facebook at all.
Right.
So I'm totally fine with that. I actually agree with that. So I use my Twitter identity for most of these types of services. So my Twitter identity has become like my personal brand, my profile on every other network that exists that I use.
Will that allow you access to your Facebook identity too? Or do you have to go back?
Both. You can so if you chose Twitter as your primary, you could attach Facebook in the settings later. So you can attach both.
Good.
Can you attach a Facebook page as opposed to your person account?
This is just for your identity. So I'll show you how the Pages feature works for just gathering the content. So what you're doing is you're signing in saying, yes, I am the Rab. That's the ID that I use on most social networks. And then your profile, you have a profile page just like any other website, which